Okay, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Let me get a light on here. So this is round 28 of 31 of the Scrabble Players Championship. If I win my last 4 games, this one included, I can still contend to cash, basically. I can still, I will, if I win my last 4 games, I will finish in the top 10. Um, and so this is every single game is just very, very important here. And I'm faced again with Ed de Guzman, who had beaten me earlier in the tournament. And I have kind of an awkward opening rack. And I decide to make a very substandard decision here that instead of playing oven at h6, which gives back the C hook, the D hook, the R hook, I think those are all the hooks. I decided to put the word a couple spaces down, and we've talked about this. This is usually not a good idea to not place your opening play within these first 5 squares. We haven't specifically talked about these 5 squares here, but yeah, giving back a potential double-double through this N is not worth doing, even though this play of oven opens a lot more hooks and will allow Ed to score more with a lot of different plays than he would have otherwise. So this was a wrong decision by me. It's very close. I had some other reasoning that potentially Ed wouldn't spot ovenware or oven bird if he had those letters on his rack. Potentially, I would be likelier to extend the word oven. And I just wanted to make the position a bit more complicated out of the opening, but it's just not worth doing. I probably should have just stuck with the normal placement and dealt with the consequences. So this is a small mistake to start things off. Ed just plays QI for 23, something he wouldn't have been able to do if I had played the other placement of oven. QI would have only scored a 13. And I draw another kind of awkward rack here and decide to play Pavan. I could also play Zoya, score some more points, but the hooks on Zoya just allow for a lot of potential easy comeback plays for Ed if he has a lot of vowels, for example. I could also play Pavan here, but that's totally horrible because it takes an E hook, so that's not correct. And I was trying to figure out a way to potentially set my Z up, but I couldn't figure it out. So I decided to just go with Pavan. If I draw an A or an E, I get Zone or Zona. Potentially that will stay open. It's not very likely, but it's possible. And yeah, Zoe also left the S hook on ovens available for Ed, so I decided to go with Pavan. And Ed plays Definite here for 68 points. And immediately I wonder if Definite takes an S, and I determine that it does indeed take an S. And if we actually look at this position, Ed could have decided to just play Fetid for 37, but Definite is probably his best bingo here, even though Inflated doesn't open the same S hook. So here, I don't have an S. I draw into not exactly the letters I was looking for to hit the 12A spot. Sorry, L-U-Y. I didn't draw an A, otherwise I would have played Zona, but I played Ponzu. The other option is Yuzu for 22, but it's just 22 versus 34. LUI isn't much worse than LNO. So yeah, and the triple that this opens is a lot more dangerous. So Ponzu is the play. Here, Ed just plays Yez for 30, which gives me a nice scoring spot with Oyez flow for 49. So I'm still feeling decent here. I could also just play Foy and potentially try to bingo through the N or the T next turn. Or just U. I think I considered all those, but decided flow is just too many points to give up. But I would like to see how those other plays perform in a short simulation before I move on. Because yeah, no matter what I do, I will be at least behind a tempo. After flow, I'm almost tying the game up, 117 to 121. But Ed will have the first move, and so I definitely know that I'm not favored at the moment in this game because Ed has the tempo advantage, and all four S's are still lurking. This play of Yez, I mean, scores 30 points, so um, probably a lot more. I mean, the same two letters will score 19 at C12, and I don't think it's worth sacrificing 11 points not to open a huge O spot, especially since the definite spot is something that we're looking at as well in this position. So Foy tells me that if I play Foy, I bingo a lot more. I bingo almost 1 in 4 times. It's probably a bit less than that. Probably a bit less than 1 in 5. But interesting result. And yeah, flow, obviously the AUY leave is pretty bad, so I'm not going to be bingoing much. So yeah, flow comes down, and Ed plays lawn for 29. A nice little cute fit there. And I draw into this rack, and I can't really find much to do other than play Gimp, but I missed Pygmian, which I believe is probably the best play. I also missed Gamey. And yeah, it's possible that my play is okay just because it it leaves better than Pygmian. The A and the Y are going to allow me to score. But I think very important thing to do here is, since it does seem like Ed might not have an S yet because plays with definites would just score a lot, or maybe he's unsure of the hook. I should probably play 6 tiles off rather than 5 to try and maximize my chances of drawing an S first, or I should just try and rid the board of this dangerous hook with Gamey and just complicate things, which was sort of my attempt with Oven. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't really complicate things because the eight row is just so easy to access. Ed could just hit play it to the triple at any, I mean, just next turn, most likely. So it doesn't really complicate the position until like a couple moves later. Definitely at a disadvantage, but Gwimp was probably a mistake. And Ed plays Latines here for 72. So very interestingly, he did not take the S hook on definite, which to me indicated that he was unsure of it. So of course I'm not happy to see this bingo, but I am happy to see that it wasn't played on the O column. And yeah, I wonder what would have happened. I mean, if I had played Gamey, Ed would have no bingo. But if I had played Pygmian, I wonder if he would have played with definites, not having a better spot for Latines, or a more safe spot like I gave him. So I'm sort of happy but also upset at this because it's possible that I would have prevented him from bingoing by making another play, the play that I didn't yet see, but I thought maybe there's some possibility there. So yeah, that's 2 bingos to 0, and I'm down 80 points. So to my AY, I draw EADOU, and I basically just have to take the triple out and score pretty well here and keep a constant. I think it's better to score 31 than 35 if I'm keeping a constant rather than AAEU, but the plays are probably close because Yud doesn't allow as many overlapping plays. So AYE comes down, and here Ed plays Bahaji, 44. So Baji, very nice play. And yeah, here rack improves a little bit, and I decide to play Adieu. I could also play a Mido, but again, now I'm just hoping that I can get the definites hook. The problem is plays from this G are somewhat likely. I'm just hoping to avoid that for maybe 1 turn and maybe draw an S. So I decide to play Adieu and leave this stuff open. Also leaves the E open potentially for a bingo. And yeah, what happens here is Ed plays drawling for 76, natural. And now the game is over, pretty much. And my hopes of cashing are crushed. And as I realize this, I miss a much better play of Hoax for 46 than the play I made of XI. And yeah, my only hope here really is to somehow get an extremely good draw next turn and bingo, and then bingo again. Hoax is probably just still the best option. So huge miss of Hoax again, right after a play that seems to crush my hopes and dreams, just like with Joe Edley, where he tripled, and I missed my bingo. Here I just missed sort of tricky find with the X. So yeah, Hoax missed, finding saddest, play XI. He plays Hogged and further solidifies his win. I decided to play Cobalt here through the L, just to, again, try and open a triple threat for myself. But this is no problem for Ed. He blocks with Locker. And yeah, now it's just a matter of trying a bingo. I think this is my rack, potentially. I decided to just play Noir, score some points. He played Trude for 21, which takes out the triple, scores well, but does create some bingo lanes. And I draw into this rack, and I decide to fish off an O right here and leave one in the bag and just try to bingo. And my hope here, I mean, it's still not enough, but my hope here is if I play this and I get a bingo that comes down, I can maybe triple out. But I think even if that happens, like let's say resistor comes down. I have this rack. I play Crampets. It's not even close to enough. And this is like the best case scenario, and I still lose the game. So, I mean, I knew that, but I still was just going for something. I play Woe. Ed bingos with Rustiest, and I luck into, well, actually, both of my draws would have hit a bingo. I don't know if I would have seen Ioticism, but I play Mistrace, and Ed wins 512 to 369, and this is the end. I know I said it was the end multiple times, but that was when I was trying to win or get into the finals. But this is the end. After this game, I'm in 18th place. Even if I win my last three, I will not make it to top 10 unless some incredible miracle occurs. But gotta keep playing. I'm not going to resign out of the tournament. So I'll save this game. 28 versus Ed. And my next game was against none other than Eric Goldstein. Oops, let's make his name spelled right. So Eric is an opponent that I've faced a lot, actually, on Woogles. His name on Woogles is Ricker. And I had never met this guy. He'd been like out of tournaments for a very long time before this nationals, but he came back and I had had a lot of practice against him, and he was doing really well in the tournament. So I was at least somewhat excited to play a new opponent, as I always am, over the board. And I open with a blank. So here I play Wilt. I could just play Twirl. I don't even know if I considered that. I should probably do that, actually. I guess this is more defensive. It keeps the better leave. Yeah, I think normally I might just do twirl, take the 4 extra points. I need to set up an S hook on the double, and yeah, my blank can probably propel me, but I'm sure the plays are really close. And Eric opens with bingo of garlands, and I draw into this rack, FOAH, and I play Arc Foes. The other bingo available was Chanfron, which might be a little bit better positionally, but I was happy with this find. This is a really tough word for me to see, so I felt like my studying had actually paid off here. So I play Arc Foes for 80 points, but it doesn't stop Eric from bingoing again with Paganism. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Yeah, for 76, and I spent a lot of time on the Arc Foes turn. And then here I had an easy decision, or a pretty easy decision, but I took a little bit longer just to consider every single one of these X-bomb plays. And I decided that playing Axe, keeping drone, was my best chance of scoring, balancing, and bingoing next turn. I could just add on Axon if I wanted to. That does give back a J spot and a Z spot. Axed scores 5 extra points, but also my leave is a lot less valuable afterwards. So I decided to play Axe. Axe comes down, and Eric plays Navi, getting rid of both V's and style. Not a word you see very often. And here I drew into this rack, and I played mentored for 65, my only bingo. At this point, I was actually pretty low on the clock already. I think I'd already used around eight or so minutes of my time. Here, Eric plays ow for 26. And with my lead and my newly drawn blank, I start looking very, very, very hard for bingos through this C, this H, this N especially, and for 7-letter words. And I come up completely empty. And throughout the entirety of my process of trying to find bingos here, I knew that I was probably just going to end up playing Payek after I didn't find bingos. And this is a really big problem for myself. I already settle on a play that I plan on probably making because I tell myself I'm not going to find a bingo. And indeed, there is no bingo here, but oftentimes when I have done this and I've found the best non-bingo play, I tend to miss bingos because I just am sort of tunneling on the notion of there being no bingo and not being able to find any bingos, and this being good enough. And indeed, a valuation of 70 points is very, very good. But if there was a bingo, especially a 7-letter word, it would probably be slightly better than this. But I've now burned a ton of time. I think I'm down to like 10 minutes or 11 minutes on my clock here. And after Payek, Eric plays Jetés for wait a sec. For 68 points. Sorry, I just totally forgot that he played this. This is a huge play from Eric, totally unexpected. And yeah, he scores 68 and actually takes the lead here, which puts even more pressure on me to try and find a bingo. But again, with this rack, I come up short. And I decided to just play Eve. I could also play Ide for 6 more points. That might actually be better here. But Eve gives me the best chance of a bingo next turn, like a 7-letter word. Let's see, our next turn, yeah, slightly higher, but not really close to enough to where I'm comfortable having taken this 6-point sacrifice. I think probably should have played Ide. Yeah, oops, 12D Ide. I cannot type. And I have a history of missing the word Ide, and I thought I would never miss it again. At least that's what I told myself at some point a few years ago. But I think I might have missed the play again. Maybe not, though. Eve comes down, and again, like, I'm really low on the clock. Eric's playing really fast. He has like 16 minutes left. At this point, he plays OI for 19. Scoring well with a couple of vowels. And I once again am faced with just this rack that looks bingo-y, and I just can't find anything, and I end up playing aided. And each of these turns, I'm like feeling somewhat uneasy about the fact that I might be missing a bingo. And I'm also feeling uneasy about the time pressure, but I'm just still trying to go a turn at a time, try to make the best play. And here Eric plays Unitage for 76, which further like freaks me out because I still have the second blank, and Eric now has a 55-point lead, and I just feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I end up playing Oi for 22, again, just looking for bingos for a bit. Can't find anything. I have this wilted spot, and here I'm just kind of trying to open something up. And finally, Eric stops scoring. He plays route, trying to block this bingo lane, but it gives me, sorry, he plays route on the other side, which makes more sense, trying to interfere with the C column, but it doesn't quite go far enough because I draw into this rack, and I have the bingo of Boutade for 79, finally taking the lead again. And yeah, after this, Eric thinks for a while and plays hour, and I'm still again down to like 5 minutes here. He plays hour, which to me is setting up his case S. And I have this rack, and I'm just like, wow, he could just ing bingo me. He could just bingo here. There's nothing I can really do. I do have this play of Heil, but I decide to play Biz for 42 because I determine, basically, this was a very advanced move of mine, or maybe it's just lucky, but I determined that Eric probably did not have the last E with this play of hour. And yeah, it seemed like he probably had some like weak bingo tiles with it. And indeed, he actually did have the last E, so this play was just really lucky that it didn't work out. I don't remember exactly what he had, but I thought he just had consonants and no E. I thought that was a correct inference to make. So I thought setting up my last E was a great idea, and also somewhat interfering with some of the bingos he could have. But Eric ends up playing frame here for 49. I'm just like, okay, he either drew that E or I've just made a really bad decision. So yeah, I'm still kind of uneasy here. But I look at this his final rack since he's emptied the bag, and I'm like, okay, I can rest easy. He doesn't have a bingo. And then I start looking for the plays he might have, and I'm like, oh my god, he has like ginks and links for like 60 points here. Am I going to be able to outrun? I have the Q. I can't really try and block that because he has plays on the J column as well, LINK plays, and I'm just like, really, am I gonna outrun this? Am I gonna be able to withstand his huge scoring plays? And the only way I felt like I could do that is if I either scored enough or if I was able to go out in two. And very lucky for me that I found what I thought was an out in two that he could not block. Of Helio here, Holier here, and Huli. And if he tried to block, like if he plays something like this, for example, that just wouldn't be enough. I would just be able to score. So any block he would have that leaves him with these huge plays of links or ginks were just not enough. And yeah, by looking at it again, I'm trying to think, was there any play that he could have? No, 2-letter plays just don't work. So he has to get rid of his huge plays to block. So instead, he actually does decide to try and block, just in case I miss Helio, or maybe he missed it. And indeed, if I miss, oh, sorry, he played log here. If I miss Huli or Helio, and I play, I guess, this, for example, he gets links and he almost wins, but I would have to find even Elhi, which is a tough find. So if I go to like OH and he makes links, I'm still actually winning, but this was a good attempt by him to try and complicate things. But instead I did go out with Helio for 19, and I ended up winning the game 506 to 427, which is weird because I have the score completely and utterly wrong here. OY 22, yes. Butad 79, yes. Biz 42, 443. QIS 469. Oh no, okay, sorry. He did play log where I thought he played it originally, and I went out with Holier. Okay, so 5. What? I'm so confused. Did I miscount this? I think I did. Holier. Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry again. I wrote down that he played log, but he actually played links 56. He ended up just changing his mind, and then I went out with Holier. Okay, there you go. 501 to 475. Final answer. So I actually did win this game, but oh my god, did Eric fight. Like, incredible scoring by him. And even in the end, it was uncertain. And this play of Biz might have been horrendous. Like, if he just bingos with buys, I'd lose. Probably. So maybe I should do something else, but I don't know. Maybe this was okay, even if he might have the E. But it's a crazy play to make. And yeah, I win by 26. So thanks for watching, guys. That was the second to last one of these videos for the SPC, and I will bring you guys the next 2 games tomorrow. Thank you.